Boom. Okay, we are live now. We're gonna wait for a few folks to hop in real quick. Mhm. Let's do this thing. All right, guys, what's going on? Happy Friday. This is the Friday edition of BatchDriven Live. We're going to be talking about growing your team with BatchDriven. If you guys watch me on Thursdays, we talk a lot about virtual assistants and how to grow your business with virtual assistants. But the purpose of today's video and the reason why we do go live for BatchDriven is to show you guys how you can scale your business without spending a bunch of money. How you can do this if you're just getting started, how to start building a real estate investing business with as least amount of money out of your pocket as possible. What's some good tricks? What's some good tips? We're going to be talking about how to build a team. This is actually a topic we've covered before. But I think it's important that we go back over it so you guys can understand there's two different ways you can go about doing this, and you can do both of them at once too. But let's talk about the cost behind it, and let's talk about being efficient on how to do it. So I think we are live on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, YouTube, everywhere that we're streaming every single Friday. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this live. And I'm going to do a quick countdown before we get started. All right, yo, what is up, guys? I'm excited to be here with you and talk a little bit about BatchDriven, growing your team, growing your business, getting more leads, and how to do that in a cost-effective manner. I have one of my virtual assistants, Bill, with me. Bill, say what's up.
How's it going, everyone? Hope
Oh,
everyone, doing really great.
you guys hear that voice? It's just like late night DJ,
Oh
chill.
man, here we
We
go.
can talk He can talk to anybody, guys. He can talk to anybody. So, a reason why we have Bill on here is he was our virtual assistant that did all of our virtual guiding for dollars. Found some great success with Bill, and he's going to share with you guys some of the processes that we do as a like fully functioning real estate investing business outside of just regular cold calling, outside of regular like texting, why you should be driving for dollars, why it's important, why you need to be doing that. Doesn't matter where you're at in your business. We actually talk to quite a few people every single week that they're doing six figures a month in wholesaling fees and they're not driving for dollars yet. And they're like, Matt, well, how do I implement this in my business? Right. And the main thing is finding a way to bring this in that's not going to get you distracted from what you're already doing. So if you guys are just getting started, this is perfect. This is the best time to learn this. We're going to go
Exactly.
over how to grow your team, right? Is it with a virtual assistant? Is it getting someone to help you drive for dollars, right? Is it getting someone to help you systemize that side? Or maybe it doesn't make sense quite yet. Maybe you haven't gotten a deal. Maybe you're not quite to that point where you feel like I'm going to put some money in and hire someone, and you just want to prove a concept. You want to get a deal first. So let's talk about that because you can go either way. When I first got it started, it was just me door knocking, right? I was door knocking, had a virtual assistant cold calling. But soon I realized that there's only so many doors that I can hit. There's only so many people that I could personally like possibly get to their house every single day and also do like seller appointments, right? And that's what you should be doing. You should be talking to people, getting seller appointments, talking to people, going on seller appointments. But what happens is you get to the point where you have a bunch of seller appointments, a bunch of people to talk to, and it takes you away from door knocking. So, where I'm going to share with you guys a couple ways that we've been able to grow our team and the reasons behind it. So, the thing is, when it comes to this particular business, and if you guys have ever freaking liked anything on Facebook, like shared anything from BatchDriven, Batch Leads, Steve Train, Pace, like anyone, You're going to get ads all the time. Yeah, internet bully, this is live. Um, you're going to get ads from like for this business all the time. And everyone's going to say there's going to be so many gurus that say, "Oh my gosh, here's the secret. Here's the thing you should be doing." And then someone else is going to say, "No, no, 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 that's stupid. You should be doing this." And then someone else is going to say, "Oh no, to get your first deal, you should be doing this other thing." Right? There's the shiny object syndrome is real because yeah, maybe all those things do work. I'm not here to say that they don't work, but what I care about is how can we get deals without spending a crazy amount of money, right? How can we get deals that's not going to freaking that's affordable, right? So getting started, I knew door knocking was the way for me because number one, not a lot of people want to do it. A lot of people are scared to do it, right? I can sit here and tell everyone who's watching our whole entire audience, it's simple. Go door knock, you're going to get a deal. And I guarantee 10% of people will be the ones that actually go door knock. And of those 10%, maybe one or two will actually stick with it, right? But it's gonna happen. It's not like it's not rocket science. But the greatest thing is it's not sexy. It's not the shiny object. There's a lot of opportunity there because no one's willing to do it. So just getting started, it's hey, well, how can I grow my team? If I'm the one door knocking, I'm creating opportunities. I need to be on seller appointments. I need to be getting contracts. How do I do this in a cost effective manner? Well, number one, when you just get started, you probably have more time than you have money, right? That's always the trade off. Do you have more money than you do time, or do you have more time than you do money? And then depending on where you're at on that scale, it's two different routes you can go, right? If you don't have a lot of time, but you have more money to spend, great. Hire virtual assistants. Hire people who can help you market to create opportunities so the time that you do have, you can focus on getting contracts. But on the other end, if you don't have a lot of money, right, or maybe you just don't want to spend it quite yet because you don't have the proof of concept that we talked about, maybe the time thing is for you. So the time you spend is getting in front of people to sell their property. The time you spend is knocking on doors. A lot of people cold call. For me, I didn't want to cold call. I didn't want to be on a dialer all day. I'd rather be in front of people because I know if I was in front of people, I have a good chance of getting a contract, right? So that's what we were doing. That's all I was doing. It's just door knocking all day. And then we're cold calling. When I say door knocking, only door knocking pre foreclosures. And guys, there's about to be a massive wave of foreclosures happening. Like there's no way around it, right? There's going to be a lot of foreclosures coming. So the better you can get at this skill right now, the better you're going to be at solving these problems for the folks in the future. So I don't go door knock probates, high equity absentee, or high equity, or just anything. It's very small and niche because again, we can only get to so many properties per day, especially when we're driving, right? Only get to so many properties per day. So you got to ask yourself, do you have more time right now? Do you do money? Especially if you're just learning. Maybe you bought some mentorship. Maybe you bought a course or something. The best way to learn is get in front of people.
Right.
Get in front of people like Bill, So guys, Bill, he was our virtual assistant driving for dollars and cold calling. Now he does lead managing, and he knows it's all about repetitions,
That's true. That is
right?
so true.
It's all about repetition. So you got to ask yourself, where are you at? And if you're learning, the best way to learn is to get in front of people and make mistakes, right? So as you grow your team, as you're growing your business, as you're growing your efforts, we only door knock pre foreclosures. And I recommend the guys who are watching, you do the same. Unless it's like some lead that came into your system, maybe you door knocked in the past, you left a note and they said they wanted to sell, but then they go dark on you. Yeah, like you can door knock very small niche list as well. But for the main focus of myself and our entire team, just pre foreclosures. How can I solve this person's problem? And we've talked about this in the past, guys. I actually did a private training for the sub two group on pre foreclosures and how we solve their problems. That is so much different than a typical conversation we have with a seller. Typical conversation we have with a seller is, hey, how much you want to sell your property for? Oh, I don't think we're the right fit, or oh, I think we could do that. Whatever, right? It's very simple conversation. But in pre foreclosure, it's so much different. We come as more It's always value first. And the reason why I do this is because these folks are getting hammered on the phones. They're getting hammered with text messages. Everybody's sending the mail, right? How do I set myself apart when I'm in front of them at the door? How do I at least get them to open up to a conversation? Because I dang sure ain't the only person who's trying to reach them, right? That's it. Everyone is trying to reach them. So how do I get this person to talk to me? And I get this person to talk to me by coming with value first, right? Hey, are you aware of what's going on with the property? Of course they're aware. Oh, I've got it taken care of. Great. So are you working with the bank? So you guys must be doing like, are you guys doing like a loan modification? Is that what's happening? Awesome. Well, are you aware of all the options that are available? Got it. So typically, with our clients, we look at anywhere from 8 options, and 4 of those is actually involving us to actually save the house. Listen, I know you're getting bombarded. I know you're getting called. People want to buy your house. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here because I think I can help, right? It's all about the person. How can I get them to open up to me and talk to me in a way that is disarming for them, and we can have a conversation? And we talked about this on many, many lives before. If it makes sense to save that property for the seller, if it makes sense to keep that property because they don't have a job, their kids go to school in that neighborhood, whatever the situation may be, we can't buy a property from someone who doesn't want to sell. But if I know something that can help them, or maybe I can just point them in the right direction, 100%. So many times, I've been in appointments from our door knockers, and the situation was, hey, Matt, come over. He wants to sell his house. I just remember so vividly. There was this guy named Hunter, and Hunter had his kids in the other room. He was sitting down with me, and obviously it's kind of an embarrassing situation for a lot of folks when they get to the point where they're like, I got to have a solution here. And I think the only solution is selling the property, right? But as I was talking to Hunter, I was listening to like, well, number one, this guy didn't have a job. So how is he going to go rent a place? Where is he going to go take his kids, right? The kids go to school right down the road. They don't have a vehicle, so they're able to walk to school from this house, right? So if they wouldn't live here, they have to get a rental, and like, would they have to like try to arrange some sort of transportation, or the kids would have to change school middle of the school year, like all these things. It would completely wreck the whole household, right? And this guy really didn't have any backup plans. He thought his only situation was to sell the property. And yeah, we could have bought the property, right? It was actually would be a subject to deal, and it would have cash flowed. It would have made sense. But for Hunter, it did not make sense, right? The like, as the business owner, I've been like, sure, yeah, definitely. Let's do this thing, Hunter. Let's get you set up. Let's get you into a rental, right? But the human being in me, right, and just being a good person is, Hunter, I don't think this is the best situation for you. Me buying your house is not the right thing for you. I think the right thing for you is, have you looked at other ways of saving the property? Because I know you tried loan mod. You don't have a job. You can't get the loan mod. You've already tried. You've tried just about everything you could. You tried getting a loan from your family members. You tried getting a loan from someone else. You tried to get a loan from me, right? But I don't think any of those things are the right answer. And the reason why is, like, you have no ability to pay back those loans. So in these situations, Hunter, I really think the best thing for you, man, is have you looked at bankruptcy? He's like, bankruptcy? What do you mean? I'm like, well, it doesn't seem like you guys are in the bit like in the market to buy a house anytime soon, right? And from what I'm having this conversation with, this really isn't a property that you guys really want to sell. This is something that you feel like you have to sell because your back's against the wall. And that's the worst position to be in. He's like, yeah, you're exactly right. I'm like, well, in chapter 13, you can protect your house. You can file bankruptcy. They would figure out payments that you would make to the trustee. Now, of course, your house is always going to be sitting in arrears. It's going to come up that it's still in foreclosure, but as long as you're in bankruptcy, you're not going to lose the house. It'll stop the foreclosure, right? And he's like, oh my gosh, well, what do I do? How do I do that? And I'm like, well, the bankruptcy court is down in Central Phoenix, yada, yada, yada. I gave him directions, and he was so grateful. Like, he went and filed it, and he was like crying on the phone that he was able to figure that out. And yeah, like, I didn't get the deal, but that's not what it's about. It's not about me getting the deal. It's about me helping that person. Because what happens when the time comes down the road, and let's say Hunter misses a payment to his trustee. Or let's just say in 3 or 4 years, Hunter's doing good and he wants to sell his property. Guess who he's going to call? He's going to call me, because like he knows that I was the person that can help him with any of his property needs. So that's why foreclosures are unique, guys. It's not about the deal. It's not about buying the property. It's not X's and O's. It's not dollars and cents. It's all about the person, right?
Right. Right.
How can you solve their problem? Obviously, they're in some financial distress. We're not in the business to take advantage of anyone. How can we help that person, right? So what you guys are going to see is there's a lot of opportunity doing that. There's a lot of opportunity out there. Well, yes, sometimes the best solution is selling the house. Let me help them figure out the next best thing, right? Well, you're going to be in that phase of, okay, door knocking, get a deal, get a lead, sitting in the appointment. You only door knock for an hour the day you're at an appointment. The next day you have an appointment, you're only door knocking for an hour. Well, guess what happens to your opportunities? They start going downhill, because if you're the sole person that is doing the prospecting, when you're doing the activities that's going to get you paid, your prospecting is going to go down. Your leads are going to go down. So with that, like, you're going to be praying that the deals that you maybe, let's just say of those appointments, you got a deal, right? But next thing you're looking at, it's like, well, I don't have anything else. So what do I got to do? And then you go back out and you start door knocking again. And you're trying to create opportunities, and they don't pan out in the first couple of weeks. So your whole business is going to be like roller coaster. Door knock, door knock, door knock, door knock. Or cold call, whatever that looks like. Get a lead, get a deal. And then as you're focused on doing appointments, your prospecting goes down until you get to the point where you don't have any more leads, and you do it again, it goes back up, and then it goes back down. And what happens a lot of times is that deal that you got, what we call them one-itis, right? We call it babying the deal. You get the deal and you're like trying to do everything you can. You're rocking that baby, trying to do everything you can to get it to close. And God forbid something happened, right? The thing about foreclosures and distress list, they typically have the most title issues. So like, don't be surprised when these deals fall through, or if something comes up on the title report. So what you don't want to do is stop your prospecting efforts. So it's important to build a team, right? To build a team around this whole idea of talking to people that is in foreclosures. Now, there's a couple ways you can go about doing this. In the beginning, you have the time, right? And you're working the appointments. That's where your time is best spent. Well, how do you find someone to help you, right? How do you find someone to help you door knock? Because the cost per deal on door knocking is gas and your subscription to BatchDriven. That's it, right? The base subscription to BatchDriven is $50. Now, full disclosure, when we were doing this in the past, I was using spreadsheets, and that was super unorganized. Spreadsheets are so tough to try to, like, okay, I was having to organize the zip code, put the addresses in MapQuest. Okay, it's in MapQuest. It mapped out my route. Okay, I had to write my notes down on a piece of paper, go back and put this into my other spreadsheet. It was a mess, right? The greatest thing about BatchDriven is you can organize all of your stuff within that app, right? I mean, the whole thing in the beginning was built for door knocking. That's why it was called Go Knock, right? With the feature of virtually driving for dollars and being able to do it from your couch, switch the brand to BatchDriven, but you can still use the same features on door knocking. And it's incredible what you can do with it, right? So we were using that, but it was super inefficient. But your cost is hardly anything. Like, my cost of my first deal, like, yeah, I hired a virtual assistant to help me cold call. So of course that went into my cost, even though I didn't get the deal from cold calling. And then obviously I had my gas money and my subscription to BatchDriven. Super duper cheap. So when you're trying to build your business, you may want to ask yourself, okay, what would be the best route for me? Because if I know the door knocking side, my costs are super low, then of course I know I'm going to need more time, right? Because where's your time going to be spent if you try to scale the door knocking team, right? Number one, it's going to be training your door knockers, right? Getting them to the point where they can door knock and use the app and use, like, because within BatchDriven, you can add team members and you can track where they are and how far they drove and the notes and how many properties they knocked, all this cool stuff. But that's going to be take a good part of your time to do that, so they can be effective. So they're setting more appointments for you, and that's where the rest of your time is being spent, is on these appointments. Now your cost isn't hardly anything because these people that are door knocking for you are getting paid commission only, right? We pay our guys 20% for setting that appointment. They don't have to close the deal. They don't have to present those 8 foreclosure options. All they have to do is get the homeowner to open up to a conversation with you, set the appointment for you, the specialist, to sit down and talk about the property. I always have our door knockers come on the appointments with me so they can see how we pitch it, how we talk to the sellers, what is the best option for the seller and why. So they're learning while they're earning good commission. Eventually, you would want that door knocker that's just setting appointments to be able to close their own deals, and then you'll give them 25, 30%. But again, you're not paying them hourly. They're only going to get paid if you get paid. So your cost is still low, right? Your overhead, still gas, batch driven. That's it, right? They get their 20% when you get paid. Great. Not a lot of money out of your pocket. But again, think about the time that you're going to need to spend to grow your team. So a couple ways that we grow our team, guys, and this is one of the reasons why we're doing this live today, is to share with you how we do this. Our physical people here in Phoenix, we tried some different ways. We've posted different job forums. We'd post in Facebook. But to be completely honest, our best source of door knockers is number one, Craigslist, right? Craigslist is amazing. And number two, referrals. So are the referrals from the people that we get from Craigslist. So I have a Craigslist ad for all you guys that are watching and you want to get that Craigslist ad that we use to grow our door knocking team. Just comment hell yes here in the comment section, say hell yes, and then send me an email, mattbeard@vahub.com. So it's the actual one we use. So whenever, and I'm going to show you guys real quick, just so you don't know I'm not bluffing you. Right? Here it is. Here's our Craigslist ad, right? Posted 2 months ago. Exciting opportunity to learn real estate investing while you earn. Here's the location in Tempe. Thank you. Just basically what happens, guys, is a lot of people who want to door knock are not just salespeople. They're people who want to learn real estate investing. Maybe they've tried other mentorship programs. Maybe they've seen some YouTube videos or Facebook or whatever, but they're trying to get into the business. You are going to be their guide to learning more. And again, I know from all of our door knockers, like, hey, if you're still door knocking here in a year, then we did something very wrong. The idea is that they're going to have their own business and they're going to learn. But what you'll find is most people don't want to do that. They see how hard it is to get leads and they'll work for you for a longer amount of time. But we're always transparent in the beginning that yes, this is a commission position. We want you guys to learn everything you possibly can. So eventually you can have your own thing, right? So if you want a copy of our Craigslist ad that maybe you want to post in your local market, you can see 20% for every closed transaction as appointment setter. If you want a copy of this, guys, I'd be happy to share that with you. It is something that works really, really, really well for us. So you can just send me an email, mattbeard@vahub.com. I'll give that to you. And it's super straightforward. I love doing that. We actually have now a way to interview those people before they actually come for the final interview. But that is where we source most of all of our door knockers, right? It comes from the Craigslist ad, and then we get them into our interview process. So now you guys can see where we get the people. Now the challenge is this takes a lot of time. So how do you implement this if you already have a running business? How do you implement this stuff if you're just trying to add on a new avenue for the stuff that you do, right? Because okay, there's a lot of steps here. So you have people apply in from Craigslist. Yes, I'm interested to learn more about your process. Guess who was at Starbucks interviewing every single one of these people in the beginning? Me. I was at Starbucks. I'd sit down. Hey, tell me a little bit about your goals. What are you hoping to do? Okay, here's about the position. Here's the commission structure. Here's the vision of it all. I was having to do all that, right? And what I quickly learned was like I couldn't do a million interviews for all these people because our attrition rate for door knockers is about 40% a month. So we have 10 on the team, and of the 10, about 4 drop off every single month. 4 drop off, 4 drop off, 4. So we're always having to bring in new people. So I stopped doing that, and instead I started doing group trainings. So if you sent me a reply on Craigslist that you want to learn more, I just got everyone together every other week at our Tempe office, or we were at actually had a Mesa office at the time. We got everyone together at the office, and we would just do it like together. We'd talk about the position, ask questions, clarify like what their goals were and what they're hoping to do, see if this was the right fit or not. And then eliminated me having to do a million one-on-ones and just had everyone together at once, kind of like for a group training. And then we also have our actual team members come so they can share with like new people who are interested in learning more. They can share with them their experience, their successes, or like, hey, this is really tough. This is what I recommend you doing. So we do that actually every other week. Now, this is something that I had to add by necessity because, yes, it takes time. If I'm working on the business, which should be everyone's goals eventually, like working on all marketing channels, not just door knocking, not just cold calling, texting, whatever all those other things are, I have to work on the business, make sure they're all working, including acquisition, including we're getting deals done. How do I still have time to go out with our door knockers to make sure they're trained? Right? Because again, that's another thing that you have to do. If you're doing the one-on-ones or the group trainings with every new team member, I used to go out and do a ride along with them to show them my best practices. Eventually, I just started pairing them up with our current door knockers. But if you're just getting started and you're bringing on 3, 4, 5 people, that's probably going to be a job that you're going to have to do. So what a scaled model looks like is after you have some people door knocking, you're going to have some people find success. That person has success, like give them bigger opportunities. Say, hey, like I want you to be our dedicated trainer. I'll give you an override on all of their newer team members. I'll give you an override on their commission if you can go out and show them like how to door knock, how to present the script, how to present like how to talk to someone in foreclosure. Basically, getting someone that's very green to getting 2, 3, 4 weeks into the business. So, we have dedicated trainers now within the team, so it doesn't have to be me. But in the beginning, of course, that's just important things, right? We've got to get people interviewed, make sure they're right fit. Once they're in the business or in our business, we have to make sure they're getting trained and they're effective at the door. The thing is, guys, commission-based position, the real go-getters and the real winners, they're going to prove themselves and they're just going to take action either way. It doesn't matter if you give them a ride along or not. The people that are going to like get deals and actually make this thing work for them, you won't actually have to hold their hand. So don't feel bad if you don't do that part, right? If you just say, hey, go make some mistakes and I'll help you at your appointments. Or if there's an issue that comes up and you talk to a seller and they say, oh, well, I'm doing this, this, and this, call me. I'm here to help, right? But the thing is, this commission-based position, you're going to have a lot of turnover. So it's going to take a lot of your time. So find help to help you do that. So what I found was the best and most effective method was having someone that is already on the team take a lot of that on as a responsibility. Because it's like, hey, I want this department to be yours. I want this department to be your thing, right? And eventually I gave a guy, I started paying him a salary like every other week just to help pay for his gas and other expenses. I gave him that every week. He get paid and he also get commission. But for me, it was like relinquishing my obligation to have to train them all the time and have the team running where it's not like distracting from the other things. But door knocking is amazing. And that's why it's still a cornerstone of my business. Like if it didn't work, we would not spend that much time on it. But in the beginning, you can do that. You can build that team with commission-based people to set appointments with you. That's not going to cost you a bunch of money. And you can use BatchDriven to manage your team, pull the foreclosures, also go drive for dollars, door knock the ugly properties. You can do all those things without a ton of money out of your pocket. Your cost per deal could be like $100 or something crazy, $120. Now, of course, as you begin to scale, you have the door knocking team that's running and is going. You post on Craigslist, you have someone helping you interview, you're doing all those things. Now, the second cool thing about why we use BatchDriven in a scale business is the virtual driving for dollar aspect, right? And this is the other route that you can go. If you have not as much time, but you have more money to spend, Get a virtual assistant that can help you drive for dollars and cold call, right? We actually, we did the 990 challenge. If you guys are tuning in, from October, November, December, we had a lot of people virtually driving for dollars. We had a lot of properties coming in. And I think one of the biggest challenges was we didn't realize that we're going to have like 100,000 lines of data a week coming in from folks driving for dollars.
That's true, man.
So, and I think it's also, I think going back, I think I should have focused more on, hey, don't just add every property. We had people just adding properties from just as many as they possibly could because they know that we're going to skip them and call them. We had 2 VAs dedicated to that whole entire thing. We could hardly get through all the data. So that's why we're giving out the skip trace data to the folks that actually did the challenge, so they can go and take their VA to be dedicated to their set of data because we have so much and we paid to skip traces. So we'd be happy to share that with you guys. But we know that works because Bill here was our dedicated VA. Bill actually, when he came on, like, okay, you guys heard him talk. He's got great communication skills, amazing. And we knew, like, okay, if we're going to keep the idea of driving for dollars is you want to keep your list count down. So the other aspect of, okay, you can go grow a door knocking team, you can do all that. I recommend you do it either way. If you don't have the time to do it, find someone who can help you set that up, help set that system up, right? But that's if you don't have the time. If you do, you should definitely do it. But either way, get that part done. But the second part is get a VA that can help you virtually drive for dollars, or get your friend, your cousin, your brother, your mom, your wife, your husband, someone who can log into BatchDriven and add properties for you every single day, right? Bill, what was our process for driving for dollars?
Yeah. So basically, guys, the time that I started doing driving for dollars, I don't know anything about it, like zero information about, no background at all. But after Matt was able to train me and all that, I basically follow, four simple rules on how to find the right property that will make sense for us. Number one, it has to have paint. And those paint will actually be coming from the exterior look of the property. So number one is I look at the lawn. If it's unmanaged, the bushes are, not well maintained. Number two, if there's any damage on the roof, anything that you could basically use as a pain to determine that property might be a good lead for us. Number
Mhm.
three, painting. I mean, the overall look of the property. And last but not the least, I actually suggested this to Matt a couple of months ago. But if I see that there's an old car sitting on the driveway, that might also be a good pain. So basically, I follow those four rules to determine the property if it's something we can work on.
Exactly. So again, it had to have like multiple issues. And that's why, with Bill's list, it's not that we had more VAs on it and more people cold calling it. We know with any list, it's just going to take consistency and timing. So we're always cold calling them. We're always texting them. And like right now, we're still marketing to the 990 challenge list.
Right.
But I think the reason why I want to give it back to the folks that sent it is, number one, you're going to have all those lists that you sent in for free. And you get the opportunity to give that to your VA who can get through it consistently, rather than have our couple VAs try to get through all these lines of data and just trying to take a hope and a prayer to get a deal. We'll still be happy to close them for you. Like, if you can identify the lead, we'll still be happy to work on the acquisition side for you. That's no problem at all. But what Bill is saying is, yeah, he's looking for those four things, and he wants multiple problems, multiple issues. He keeps the list small, and the reason why we keep the list small and it's advantageous for Bill is because he actually calls those people.
That's true.
He's not. He wasn't the one just building a list. Like, yes, the idea of driving for dollars, you're building a very small niche list. It's going to be a really good list, right? But with any list, again, goes back to consistency and timing. But for Bill, it made sense for him to keep that list small because he was the one that's going to have to call these people. He's not going to be adding pretty properties. Like, oh, the
Right.
pool looks open just a little bit. I'm gonna add it to my list. Or oh, I think this satellite, the pool's empty. I think it don't, but the rest of the property looks beautiful. I think I'm gonna add that to my list, right? He wouldn't add those because he knows that he's probably gonna be wasting his time on the phone call. Is that right, Bill?
That is so true. 100%, man.
Right. So by keeping it that way, I mean, we've been able to be very effective and efficient with all of our driving for dollar leads from Bill's list here because it's small and we can get through it a bunch of times. We had a 50K assignment off of that. Amazing. One deal down there in Central Phoenix off of his list. But again, this is like the best methods of using the app and BatchDriven is yes, build a door knocking team, but you should also be using its other features that are already available to you. You should be driving for dollars. You should be building a list on driving for dollars. If it's not you, get someone like Bill who can build a list. And guys, here's the process. The first 4 hours of your VA's day should be cold calling their list, right? So if you're like, okay, well, how did this work? So week 0 or week 1, when your VA first starts, 8 hours a day, they're driving for dollars, right? The idea is for them to pick the best areas, right? I shared with Phil the best neighborhoods where he should be driving for dollars, not the expensive neighborhoods. You're not going to find that many properties, but in the neighborhoods he should be driving for dollars in 8 hours a day for the first five days, right? He built out a list. It was 300-400 properties, whatever it was, right? On Friday, I take that list. We get it. Well, not me personally, our VA Mark. But either way, if it doesn't have to be a VA, you're going to export your list. You're going to get it skip traced. Then you put it into the power dialer. So come Monday, right, on week 2, Bill's job now looks like this. The first 4 hours, he's power dialing his list that he built. And then the second 4 hours, he's driving for dollars, right? And then the
That's
next,
true.
the first 4 hours, he's power dialing that list again. And then he's building a list in the second half of his shift. So the list that he builds in the second half of his shift will be called week 3. And then it keeps going week 4, week 5. So that way, number one, I want to give Bill the opportunity to make commission. And number 2, with every virtual assistant we hire, it's, hey, how can they make the business more money? Right? And Bill having great communication skills, it was the best position for him was building out a list and calling sellers. Now, freaking, he's negotiating with sellers. He's talking to guys. He's getting motivation. He's setting up acquisition. Like he's doing all kind of cool stuff. But it all started by having quality conversations with these sellers. And we naturally kind of bring up our VAs and give them more responsibilities if they prove that, hey, they can get the job done. And he was definitely one of those. So the tips of building your team, number one, if you're going to build a physical door knocking team, you better use Craigslist. Don't use Facebook. I tried it. I had a bunch of people apply on Facebook. They all want to work from home. They don't understand what you're trying to do. I don't know. And maybe sometimes they did, but they wouldn't show up. I don't know if it was just a difference in Craigslist and Facebook, or maybe it's just me. But so many times I have interviews, they wouldn't show up. I don't know. It was kind of weird. But I just know that our most success has came from Craigslist. And our guy Alex Blanco, Alex is probably watching. Alex, I love you, man. He now handles like all of the door knocking training because he is a crazy, crazy guy. And this is what's going to happen to you guys too. You're going to go through these interviews. You're going to hire a bunch of people. You're going to find a few people that stick. And then you're going to hire more people and you're going to find a few people that stick. And someone's just going to stand out above the rest. Alex is one of those because he has such a short memory, right? Because door knocking, it can be brutal, right? You can go door knock and people say, no, I don't want to sell my property. Get off my lawn. Okay, get out of here. Oh, no, thanks, right? Whatever. Like it can be a long day, but freaking Alex loves just being in his car, driving around, talking to people. Someone will tell him like, no, get off my lawn. I don't want to sell my house. He's like, okay, got it. He gets in the car. It's almost like he totally forgets that conversation and he drives to his next property and he goes and talks to someone else. Right. So, and he, through time and through the repetitions, he's learned a lot about like what works at the door and what doesn't. And he's like our dedicated trainer now. So That's what it looks like once you start bringing people in and growing that. You don't need to go spend a bunch of money. You don't need to go buy a $20,000 training course with this CRM that does all these automations and all this stuff. And because look, you can spend money in so many different ways in this business, but I think getting started is so important to make sure the money that you're spending is efficient and you're not just taking every dollar you have to try to grow this business. Is how can you be profitable from the beginning and not have a crazy amount of money out of your pocket? Like asking a virtual assistant to be paid on commission, not recommended. But asking someone physically, a salesperson here in the United States is going to go door knock, you can sell them on the vision. That's how you can grow your business without any money out of your pocket other than gas and other than having your batch driven subscription, making sure you have the team subscription so you can add team members, right? But that is how you do it. And then you get to the point where, okay, if I have a whole door knocking team going out and knocking on pre-foreclosures, we're always looking for an edge. We're always looking for an edge. We all have the same data, right? We all have access to the same high equity data, the same stuff that we can pull on batch leads, the same stuff we can pull on PropStream, same stuff we can pull on list source. Well, how do we get a niche list, right? Everybody's like, Matt, what's the best list to call? Do I call pre-foreclosures? Everybody's got it. Do I call probates? Everybody's got it. Do I call co-violations? Everyone has it, right? Everyone's calling the same list. Well, how do I build a list that is super niche? And driving for dollars is amazing for that, especially if you add the ugliest ones. Not to say those properties aren't on other lists, because they probably are, but they're tucked away in 100,000 line of data. The idea of driving for dollars and getting ugly properties is, yeah, I mean, there's a good chance that most of them don't want to sell their property, but we can get through that data set so much faster because it's a lot smaller. And we can go through it. We can go through it until we get someone on the phone that either says, no, I don't want to sell my property, or, hey, what do you guys want to, like, what are you going to offer for it? Really? That's it. And we keep it small and we keep it niche for that reason. So you can go either way with it. And I do recommend you starting with the door knocking team, but understanding it does take a lot of time. Talk to a lot of people about building a door knocking team, and they're gung ho in the beginning, but then they realize like it does take time when you develop people and you train people and you build out this team. It takes time, and it's going to take time out of your schedule. So if you work a 9-to-5 job, building out a door knocking team probably not the right thing, right? If you work a 9-to-5 job and you have income, maybe that thing instead is having a VA drive for dollars for you. So you only have the cost of the VA, batch driven, and actually there's no gas. Batch driven, VA, and the cost of skip tracing that data, right? You're not going to go buy a bunch of, because I made this mistake. I bought a big list. I closed my first deal and I bought this list that cost me like $4,000 to skip trace. Biggest mistake of my life because I didn't have a bunch of VAs to get through it. I almost went the whole month without getting a deal. Got my first deal and I'm like, oh yeah, we're off to the races now. Let's do it, right? Spend a bunch of money on this list because that's what I was told to do, and didn't get any deals from it. And I was wondering, like, why in the world am I not getting a deal? I just spent all this money. Oh my gosh. Like, am I have to go back out there and start door knocking a bunch of properties? Like, is it going to have to be just me again? You know? So don't be like me. Don't do that. The reason why you get a VA to drive for dollars is you're not going to be paying a bunch of money to skip trace. You have a smaller niche set, and just have that VA. You only need one. You only need one VIL to drive for dollars and call, drive for dollars and call, drive for dollars and call. Find that diamond in the rough, someone who does want to sell, have a VIL set an appointment for you, call that person and get the deal. That's how you can be efficient if you don't have enough time without spending a bunch of money as well. That's how you can be efficient. But if you do have time, grow that door knocking team. If you got a little bit of both, do both. So it's still a part of our business now that we generate, well over, multiple six figures a month in wholesale fees, but we still have both of those aspects in our business because they're crucial. We get deals from the high equity list, not saying that we don't, because we do. Cold calling works, texting works, all these things work, but you have to be consistent with them. So we have multiple avenues that these deals come from different streams, and this is how you build it out. But again, in the beginning, if your challenge is funds, door knocking team. If your challenge is time, but you haven't gotten a deal yet, virtual driving for dollar VA that can cold call and set you up on appointments. Does that make sense, guys? Let's do some questions, Bill. You down with that?
Sure. Let's go.
Love it. Oh my gosh, we got a lot here. Yo, okay, Nashville. Darren, reach out to me. Let's talk about your 990 stuff. Is your name
Yeah. I saw that too.
Is your name a Roman numeral? Matt, can I get your door knocking script? Absolutely, man. Matt.Beard at vahub.com. I typically check my email. I try to at least once a day. So before my day starts early in the morning. So if you sent me an email yesterday, I'll probably get to it today. So just bear with me and I would definitely get that to you. No doubt. I'm just getting started. I have a code violation list. Where do I start with getting the contact number for them from the list that I have? BatchDriven. So I would recommend for this, Ricky, go to Batch Leads because Batch Leads can trace it for you. So BatchDriven is used for like in the field, virtually driving for dollars, or door knocking, whatever. You can skip trace within the app. You can text within the app. You can call. You can do all those things. But for like a list, like a big list that you have, upload that into Batch Leads because Batch Leads, you can stack the list. You can skip trace the list. You can find which ones are vacant. You can find the absentee owners. You can do so much. So you can just go to Batch Leads to do that. And if you don't have a Batch Leads account, I think Pace has a code, like a sushi code. I think it's batchleads.io/Pace. And if you use that code, I think you get, I forget the credits. It was like 500 text. It may be I don't know, but I know for sure you'll get something for using that, which will help you. It maybe help you skip trace. But yeah, you would do that in Batch Leads. I need to build an accountability group. Shane, where are you at, man? Are you using BatchDriven? Because if you're using BatchDriven, there's actually a BatchDriven Facebook group. What I would do is I would post into the BatchDriven Facebook group saying, yo, guys, Saturday, I'm going out the door knock in whatever area. Is there anyone here want to join me? That's the best way to squad up. I love door knocking with people. I obviously prefer it that way. I'd rather not be by myself door knocking. Number one, I always feel good to have a little bit of backup. Not saying that things
That's
are
true.
not saying things. Okay, I probably shouldn't have said it that way. But things, I've never had anyone be aggressive with me at the door, never. But I like having someone that has my back, right? Who's like can actually, I feel more accountable when someone is like listening to me talk at the door because I feel like, okay, I really can't mess this up. I really can't mess this up, right? And then number two, I like you're driving in the car for hours on end. You can have a good conversation with someone who's doing the business as well. So I would post in BatchDriven, man. That's like one of the best accountability groups you can do. If you're in sub 2, I know they have accountability groups in there as well. Let's see. Does anyone want to get a VA hub to call me back? I put them in to call on their website. Yeah, so I don't know your name because it says internet bully, but if you booked a call, there's a time slot. It's the discovery call. So it takes about 30 to 45 minutes on that call and it's booked on a calendar. So if you put in your information and you didn't book your discovery call, it's probably why they haven't called you. But if you did book your discovery call, you would got the notification. If you want to, send me an email, mattbeard@vahub.com, and I'll make sure you get on the calendar for the discovery call. I know right now, guys, if you want to hire a virtual assistant, we are on a 2.5-week waiting list. So we're doing this to make sure we have great quality for our clients. And we obviously have a lot of people that are waiting for their virtual assistants this week, next week, and then the following week. So every single Thursday, our virtual assistants graduate, they get their certification, and then they're deployed. So 2.5 weeks. If you want to get started, I would recommend obviously doing it as soon as you can so you can have a virtual assistant by the first week of February. Robin says, can I door knock with your team when I'm there? Get schooled by some expert. Robin, come on. Yes, absolutely.
Let's go.
Let's do it. I can't wait. Are you guys flying down? Are you guys coming to Phoenix? Let's do it. Absolutely. Can you be specific when you say door knocking? I think I answered this when I said pre-foreclosure stuff. Um, yep. Okay, so what we define this activity as, the major trackables is by conversations. Like cold calling. It's like how many calls you make, how many people did you talk to, how many appointments you set, right? Very similar with door knocking in the fact that number one, we track how many doors did you knock. We know that typically takes about 150 doors to get a deal. But the doors themselves, that's not the magic, right? Tap, tap, tap on the door, not talking to anybody is never going to get you a deal. Leaving a note, never really going to get you a deal. Where you get your deals from, knocking on 150 doors and having about 40 to 45 conversations with someone, even if it doesn't go anywhere, 40 to 45 conversations should lead to about 4 or 5 appointments, which should lead to about 1 or 2 deals. So that is our major metrics when we look at our numbers for a door knocking team. That's what we care about. What information should you know to help homeowners when pre-foreclosure? So you should know like basic objections as they're already working with the bank, which typically means they are trying to do a loan modification. It's important to understand what can go wrong with that, right? Like a bank could kick back their loan modification, and God knows what's going to happen with all this stuff that's going to happen in 2021 because of COVID in 2020. So number one, you should know the common objections, which is, oh, I got it figured out. I'm working with the bank. I don't really need any help. Got it. Typically that means they're doing a loan modification. Well, did the bank share with you like, the scenarios in which they can kick that out? So when the thing that I want you guys to understand more than the specifics is when you're at the door, it's more consultative, right? It's value. It's letting them know like the best way to build rapport at the door is letting people feel you and like, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about, right? He's confident and he knows what he's talking about more than the specifics of, oh, well, here's how this works. And the 8 options for foreclosure is this. And if you do this right here, blah, 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 blah. Like you can go really far down a rabbit hole and they're not going to connect with you. Instead, you make it about the human being and meet them where they're at, wherever they're at in the process. If they're doing loan modification, great. How can I help this person? How can I serve them? Like, are you open to other options? Like, just in case that doesn't work out. Or is this brand new? Did you have any idea this was happening? No. Okay, well, how can I help this person? Inform them on, loan modifications and all this stuff. So we typically teach our door knockers on 8 options, but they never, ever, ever talk about them at the door. All they're doing is seeing where the prospect's at and how we can help, set the appointment. Myself or one of the other acquisition reps will go in the appointment and see how we can help that particular homeowner. How professional is your attire? So I wear like a t-shirt and jeans or something like that. Nothing crazy. I mean, I door knocking hoodies. It doesn't matter. I think the challenge is the mask thing right now. When we just started, no one was wearing masks, but now like most people are wearing masks. So I won't wear a hat if I'm wearing a mask. And then before they open the door, I'll kind of like have it like this. And then if they want me to put it on, I'll just put it on. So again, you want to show your face. I had door knockers wearing freaking glasses, masks, hats, and all this stuff, and like a jacket. He's like, well, I don't know why I'm not getting your results. I'm like, bro, I would never answer the door for you. Are you kidding me? I'm not answering the door. I'm gonna have to go get my gun or something. Jeez, like, what are you trying to do here? People's got to feel you. People's got to understand like this person's coming from a good place. I would never ever answer that door.
That's a good one, man. That's
Yeah.
true.
Let's see. That's good. All right, Ricky says, starting out, when you are door knocking pre-foreclosures, should you have a notepad in your hand? Nope. You should have, this is a big thing that we coach our door knockers on, so you guys can take notes on this. Never, ever, 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 never, ever, 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 ever have anything in your hand. Ever. Don't matter if it's the seller's appointment. This is really big tip. So you guys should definitely take note of this. Doesn't matter if you're doing an acquisition appointment. Doesn't matter if you're door knocking. Never have anything in your hands, because when you have something in your hands, it's like you have a hidden agenda or something, right? So I see a lot of people go and door knock, and they like have this freaking clipboard, and they're like this outside. What do you sell? Are you selling Girl Scout cookies? Like, what are you doing? You know, I mean, I joke, but at the same time, I probably wouldn't answer that door with someone who's got like they're going to sell me on something, right? Instead, nothing in my hands. I leave everything in the car, phone in my pocket, nothing. I'm just there like this, right? Now, whenever I go to an acquisition appointment, still I go into the house, make sure that like, hey, I'm here to buy a property. If it's like a regular acquisition appointment, if I'm there to talk to someone in pre-foreclosure, still nothing in my hands, right? I'll go and maybe they have a piece of paper, maybe we'll write some stuff down, but it's all on them. I'm not coming with anything. Now, if we talk and they're ready to actually move forward with the deal, then I'll say, okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get the agreement out of the car and we'll go over it together, right? I'll go get the agreement. We come back in, we get the deal done. But I never walk up with a clipboard, never walk up with a contract, never, like, even on acquisition appointment, don't go in with anything in my hands unless they say they're ready to move forward. Great. I'm going to go get it out of the car. I'll be right back, right? Nothing in my hands. That's really big. Dude, we got a lot of hell yeses. I love it. Yeah, make sure to email me all these hell yeses. I love it. Arama says, heck yes. Email me and I'll get that to you guys. It's our Craigslist ad. It works really well. Hey Matt, is this file with sub 2 group? Yeah, so the training that I did was in the sub 2 group. You can see that recording in there. And then I also shared the ad with them. So it's just, you would have got that via email. Do you have a door knocker training video? So we have some videos and we have like some basic PDF and printout stuff that we like, oh, well, here's the 8 options of foreclosure. Here's, we had some recordings of door knocking and how to actually have a conversation and, the things about a loan modification. We have the videos there, but guess how many people actually watch the videos? Like never anyone, unless I physically have to sit down with them and watch the video with them. No one really ever watches that stuff. So the most important thing we do is we get them together every other week and we go over that over our training stuff. Yo, Justice, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? Excited to see you. Bro, how many deals do you have now from door knocking? Justice is the freaking man, guys. He started door knocking using BatchDriven, and I don't know, you're probably on like the 10th deal now. I love it.
That's nice. Kind of familiar with Justice though. I think I saw him last live. I joined
Yeah,
in, but yeah,
he's,
he's rocking it.
he's always on here. Hey Matt, how are you managing the door knocking KPIs in Batch? Are you having the door knockers track their own results? Or using reports and app? So we use the reports in the app for like that is one of the basic metrics we look at, and then I cross-reference it or have our trainer cross-reference it with a spreadsheet with their actual numbers. So we look at, okay, how many doors you hit, how many how many conversations you have, how many appointments did you set, how many deals have you gotten this week, right? We'll keep that in the spreadsheet, and then we'll look at the reports within the app and see like, okay, they actually drove 36 miles today. Looks like they covered and they actually updated, 41 properties or whatever. We can see that within the app, and we'll just cross-reference it between the two. Because if it doesn't add up and they're like, hey man, I don't know why I'm not getting any deals. I'm knocking on the doors. Here's my, I've been submitting my numbers every day, and I go look in the app and the numbers don't support it within the app, then it's a no-brainer. It's like, hey, well, something's happened here. Do we need to have like a re-agreement or like what, I don't know. We got to meet the expectations. Like at the end of the day, if the doors aren't being knocked, you're not going to get a deal. If you're getting 5 doors a day, you're not going to get a deal. If you're getting 10, if you're getting 20 in a week, you're not going to get a deal. It's going to take you 6 months to even get a chance of possibly talking to someone. So it's all about consistency and doing these things and doing the metrics. So we do track between the two. Let's talk about this one. I love this one. So Liz says, my apologies, already asked. What's the difference between batch driven, batch leads, batch skip tracing? So Here's the thing. All this is under the batch umbrella, and this is the reason why we use BatchDriven, because we use everything under batch umbrella, including the batch dollar starting next week. Batch leads and batch skip tracing are actually under the same platform. So when you get batch leads, you'll get the skip tracing feature within there, right? Now within batch leads, it's like, I guess the easiest way to describe it, it's the hub for all of our data. For every line of data that the company has, we don't have a bunch of sheets, we don't have a bunch of Excel sheets, Google Sheets. Every bit of data goes into batch leads, right? And the greatest part about that is we have, like a million records in our batch leads account. But we can go in and say, okay, well, give me all the properties that are in Arizona that are absentee owned and are vacant, right? And the system got, and it will spit out a list of, oh, here's all the records that match that, right? Or, hey, give me all the properties that are, this, like, so I can stack the list and I can organize it very fast and efficiently for any of my marketing campaigns. So all of it goes into batch leads. And then any data that I don't have skip traced within that same properties app and batch leads, I can select all of them and get them skip traced just by clicking a few buttons. And as soon as they skip trace, it updates the records. So I don't have to, we used to have to take the list, get it formatted, send it in, get it skip traced, take the records, update the list, then put it into some sort of stacking platform. The greatest thing you do now is it's just a couple clicks and it updates itself. So that's batch leads. It's like the hub of all of our data. We can send big text blasts in there. We can do, other features that the platform has, but the main thing is the skip tracing and stacking is all within that one platform. And it can do a lot of other stuff too. Now, BatchDriven is made for, on your phone, in the field, driving around, finding ugly properties, organizing pre-foreclosures, tracking your driving route, talking to people that is in pre-foreclosure, door knocking ugly properties that will be on your driving for dollar list. Like it efficiently can help you organize your driving for dollar stuff. So I think BatchDriven is pre-foreclosures, other distress list, and driving for dollars for in the field, or virtually driving for dollars at home. Because in the past, whenever I wanted to go add a bunch of ugly properties, I had to take my notebook, right? And I would just be I would be going like 5 miles an hour through these sketchy neighborhoods, people trying to roll up on me, right? And I'm just like, okay, I think that was 1427 West Whitmore Avenue. Okay. And I'd try, trying to write these down as fast as I could to get out of there. And they would go in a notebook, and I had to take that, put it in a spreadsheet, take the spreadsheet, get it skip traced, format it, get them into the stack, get in the stack, like all these things.
It's a ton of work.
Yeah, crazy amount of work. But now you can use it in an effective manner, and it will organize it for you in BatchDriven. Does that make sense? Love it. Sweet. Okay, it's code PACE, I believe. There you go. So if you go to batchleads.io/PACE, code PACE, whatever, it'll get you whatever that discount is. Val says, where are you? I would love to door knock with you. Val, I'm in Phoenix. So let's do it. Come out to Phoenix. Let's go door knock. Let's do it, guys. Dylan says, Matt, what's the difference between BatchDriven and Deal Machine? About to purchase one of them now, but I don't know which one to use. So here's the difference. The reason why we use BatchDriven is the data gets updated very often. And to be completely transparent with you, I've never used BatchDriven, but I've never used Deal Machine. That was wrong. I've never used Deal Machine. I use BatchDriven. And that, just out of complete transparency, I can't really, tell you much about their platform. But the reason why we use BatchDriven is because everything we do is like under that batch umbrella. Not because we think Evo, Annie, and Jesse are really cool and we love them and they're good people, which they are, but we use their stuff because it works. Like all of our data is under that umbrella. Like everything is in that stacker, right? All of our texting there, driving for dollars there. So it just made sense to keep everything in one platform, because we live in a place where you can get subscription to death, right? I think Pace actually has an ad about this. There's so many subscriptions for everything. It's like, oh, well, if you want to use this platform, it's $97 a month. This thing is $27 a month. In fact, I was looking at our bank statement, and I was looking at all these subscriptions, and I was like, "Yo, what is all this stuff? We don't even use half of this stuff." So the idea with Batch is to keep it all under one platform, right? And it keeps our training simple. It keeps our team organized. So we use BatchDriven over Deal Machine because of everything else we do. Never use Deal Machine, but I know BatchDriven's badass, so I haven't really ever needed to look at a better option. Justice says you never had anyone being aggressive. I mean, not physically aggressive, right? There's been some people that's like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm always able to diffuse them. Justice, what you got to do is you got to like throw on a little bit of Southern accent. It's just got to get a little bit thicker. And you know what? Once the accent gets a little bit thicker, everybody's like, you know what? He's a good person. I'm not going to yell at him. You know, maybe that's my mind working, but that's how I feel about it. Eva says, when you go door knocking with others, do you door knock door to door together or different doors? We go together, so we're at the same door together. Yep. And hey, we may be able to like play off each other when having a conversation with the seller. It works out really good, and you know, we all can learn from other people's techniques because everyone communicates a little bit differently, right? I've never done any kind of sales training. I've never done any other kind of like training with other people. It's just because no one sells the way I sell. No one talks to people the way I talk to people. But I'm always interested to see how other people communicate so I can figure out a better way to communicate with other personalities, right? So the thing is, we can all learn from other folks, but no one's going to do it the way you do it, Eva. And no one's going to do it the way Bill does it. No one's going to do it the way I do it. We all just do things, just we have our own little quirks. And I'm sure you guys see that when Pace does his seller calls, right? Lydia says, I need a VA.
Let's do it.
There was only a place you can go to get you a trained virtual assistant that would work for your business and get you leads to grow your business. Go to vahub.com and book a discovery call. And yeah, let's see if we could be a good fit. Yes, sir. Business is good, man. What about you? I want to, Justice, put in the comment section, how many deals are you doing right now? How many deals are you doing right now? You land on the 24th. Let's do it. I know we have something that we have to do on the 26th and 27th, I think, but definitely like 25th, we can get out there and do it. As far as a VA, yeah, sorry, Lydia, vahub.com. You can book a discovery call with our team, and they'll kind of walk through the services that we do, cold calling, texting, admin stuff, and just see if it makes sense for you right now. And if it doesn't, like obviously look at those other action steps that we're talking about. Kevin says CRM that you know of that is automated text follow-up that is affordable. Well, we have our own build out on Podio. It's called Bomb CRM. We're actually working to move that off of Podio and have its own like source. So, but as of right now, we have Bomb CRM. It's $97 a month, and you can do your own automated text follow-ups if you set that up. Of course, Podio has its own free version, but you can also pull your hair out trying to get all the automations right and setting up the whole back end. So it's up to you which route that you want to go. But typically, any sort of Podio build-out will have that feature. Pretty positive. Do you keep the same VA person forever, or well, I hope so. My VAs, like their VA means like virtual agent, virtual assistant, but I think they're like virtual family. Like
There you go.
you know what I'm saying? I want our people to be excited, to be happy, and like I want Bill to feel like this is as much of his business as it is mine. And I want
Word.
him, you know, like we all like one of our culture values, Eva, is we do the best we can and we do the right thing and we think we, not me. So a part of that is we try to create a culture where we're all, you know, helping each other, and we're all helping, you know, like, hey, do you need help with this? You need help with that? Like whatever. Create an environment of collaboration where we're all positive and we're all working for the same goal. So I would love to keep them for as long as they can, but also understand everybody's got dreams. Everybody's got aspirations. We all got things we want to do with our life. And I want our team members, our VAs, to be dreamers as well. I want them to live their dream life. And if that takes them away from my business, but they're able to live their dreams, absolutely. Go live your dreams. for sure.
And Matt, if I might, add something on that,
Hmm.
with the culture that you've set up, with the whole team, I mean, I'm one of those people who's really, looking forward to come in the next day. I mean, I'm not dragging myself to go to work because of these
Yeah, they're
positive things that you've, building up. So definitely, it's a good way to
that
build up everything,
that's
the
the way to do it,
foundation.
Evo. Culture is so important, right? And we talk about A team players and C team players and entitlement, and that starts with me too. I'm no better than anyone else on my team, right? We're all
Right.
in this together. I'm not entitled to any sort of special treatment, right? We all work at this together, and I think when you communicate your culture and you live it, and you have everyone, you have the right people in the right seats in your business, it's going to blossom. It's going to naturally happen because everyone takes ownership of what their job is. Just says, do you only knock pre foreclosures? I've been knocking driving for dollar property since I've knocked every pre. Yes, bro, absolutely. You're going to run out of property, especially in some of these areas like non-disclosure estates and just some smaller cities. You're going to run out of pre foreclosures a lot faster than what you would in Phoenix. So the next list that you should door knock is the driving for dollars. So that's the way to do it, bro. Are batch driven pre foreclosures more accurate than the list from the title company? I would get both of them. I would cross reference, and you can always upload your list in the batch driven. So it will exclude the duplicates, but that way you can have both. I would say keep both because I typically pull a lot of our pre foreclosures for cold calling and texting from the tax records. Um, so I mean that data is never wrong. So I like putting that into batch driven too. So maybe it'll add a couple here and there, or tell me if I have duplicates. So that's just how we do it for sure. Maureen says, "Hey Matt, should I keep prop stream and batch leads? One or the other, because they batch leads now has the same features. Well, has a lot of the features that prop stream has plus some, but it's all under one platform. So for us, it didn't make any sense to keep prop stream because everything we can do on prop stream can be done on batch leads. So we were able to get rid of that $197 a month subscription to prop stream. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, there's 8 options that we go over. We actually have a printout for our door knockers of those 8 options. Um, and we're in a state where it's non-judicial, meaning that the pre-foreclosure process does not have to go through court. So every lender has the right to it's called an acceleration clause. They can accelerate the mortgage and be due on sale and force it to have to go to auction without having to actually go through court. So I know Florida is a state to where it is a judicial state. The properties have to go, any pre-foreclosures have to go through a court process before they go to auction. So I would just be aware of your state laws so you can make sure you're operating within those. What do you say when the owner tells you they don't know what you're talking about and they aren't in foreclosure, like either the info isn't correct or where the owner is in denial? Well, Liz, one of the best things I like to do, it's like, oh, that's super interesting because I mean, I'm sure you're getting a bunch of phone calls and text, and the reason why that's happening is because look right here, right? And I'll pull up my phone, and I'll have like the tax records or batch leads, and I'll say, look, it says like you have an auction date of, February 16th at 10 a.m. Like, are you aware that's happening? Like that's a really big deal. It's like, oh no, that information is wrong. So got it. Well, your trustee is actually listed. Should we call your trustee right now just to see what in the world's going on? Because if they truly have the wrong information, they're pretty far along in the process here, right? So they know they're in denial. They know they're lying to you, but it's just a nice way I'm calling them out on their BS. I'm just pulling it up right in front of them. So that's how I handle it. Let's see, guys. Oh, you guys are asking a ton of good questions. I'm trying to go through all these. Um, how many people should I text per day when looking for wholesale leads? As much as your budget will allow you to. So we send, 15, 20,000 texts in a day, but you can get deals sending 50 to 100, keeping the list small and niched, right? So as much as you can, if you've never gotten a deal yet, I would say 250 to 500 texts a day would be amazing. But if that's just not in the realm, 150 to 200, right? The more, it's all a numbers game, guys. It doesn't matter. The numbers itself doesn't matter near as much as your consistency and making sure you're putting yourself in position to win. And if you're not consistent with it and you're not doing enough, like 100 texts in a day is like dropping like a water drop in a bucket in the ocean. It's like not going to really do much. But again, over time, who's to say you can't get a deal from it? But I'm always about how can I put ourselves in position to win, and we do that by playing the numbers game and getting our reps, sending out as many texts as we can to get in front of our ideal clients. How do you deal with door cams? I'll go knock on the door, and if someone answers me with the camera, I'll talk to them through the camera. And then if they're not there, it's like, well, you know what? I was stopping by regarding the lender. It seems like you got this all figured out. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave you a quick note with what we found, and you can give me a call back whenever you get the opportunity to, right? I'll talk to them through the camera, leave a note like, hey, here's my phone number. Even if they cut the camera off and not listening to me, I'll at least leave something at the property. I won't count that as a conversation though. That open hands, not threat. Yep, exactly. So nothing in our hands. Yeah, I think that was in regards to the question about holding something.
Right.
Yeah, don't take anything with you guys. Like if you're driving, leave everything in the car. Don't have your phone out. Don't be videotaping nothing. Don't be taking notes on your phone, taking a phone call. Everything there needs to be nothing in your hands, right? Like the most non-assuming you could possibly be is what we want to do here. Let's see. Hey Matt, and if guys you want the if you don't have our door knocking script, please email me mattbeard@vahub.com. I would love to give you guys our door knocking script. We have two different ones, one for pre-foreclosure and one just for general. So if you're going to door knock on, you're driving for dollar properties, the conversation is going to be a little bit different, obviously, than the ones you're in pre-foreclosure. Hey Matt, who are you hiring for door knocking team to start with? What are your offering potential door knockers? So Patrick, I have our Craigslist ad. If you want a copy of that Craigslist ad, just shoot me an email, mattbeard@vahub.com. It outlines the pay, how we pay our folks, what we're looking for, making sure they're the right fit. It's all on that Craigslist post, and I'll share that with you. Just shoot me an email. I'll send it over. Just a short answer, we're not using custom icons. And he says, I've got 41K closing this month from door knocking. Dang, son.
That's wow.
Dude, way to go, bro. I'm so happy for you, man. That's amazing. How many knocks would y'all suggest a week to get 2 deals in 3 months? 2 deals because I'm comfortable door knocking and my goal is to close 2 deals this quarter. So if you want to close 2 deals this quarter, you better contract at least 6 or 7 properties, maybe even 8, because pre-foreclosures have a lot of title issues. So if you want to get that, let's just say it's 8. That means, that's being super conservative. And what's the best thing you can be when you're conservative? If you close 6 of those 8, even better. But that basically means you need to be getting a contract about every 10 days, right? Maybe 10, 11 days. So by doing that math, you need to be hitting 150 doors, having 40 to 45 conversations a week, 4 or 5 appointments a week, 1 deal. Does Batch have its own corn built in CRM? It doesn't have corn, but I know I don't think it has a CRM either. I think well, actually, I know it does not have a CRM either. It's just the texting, the actual like lead manage, the property app where you can stack and skip trace and all that good stuff. Matt, what's the biggest difference between BatchDriven and Deal Machine? I think I already answered this one above. I've never used Deal Machine. We use BatchDriven because we use all the Batch products. Again, not because we love the people down at Batch, because we do, but simply because we know it works and we use all of their other stuff. So it just makes sense. Matt, I'm in Phoenix. Can I go knock with you and your team? Definitely, Gerardo. What I'm going to do, man, is I'm going to connect you with Alex, and Alex is amazing. He would love to take you out and get you going. Reading Profit First right now. He talks all about that, 100%. Dude, okay, so if you guys don't know, Profit First is an amazing book, but anything by that author, Michael Michalowicz, amazing. Pumpkin Plan, great. Fix This Next, amazing. Clockwork, awesome. Profit First, like all his books are great. You should be reading his stuff for sure. Eva, if you need a VA, go to vahub.com, book your discovery call, and we'll go over what your business looks like and see if this makes sense right now. And if not right now, what it would look like in the future, and how do you know when you're ready? Are there links on vahub.com for the scripts, other videos, etc. as well? So Peggy, I have the scripts. They're like in my freebie folder. So I'll be happy to give those to you. All you have to do is email me, mattbeard@vahub.com. I'm actually working on a free course that I'm going to be giving to everyone who signs up for VA Hub, how to be effective, like some best practices when managing a virtual assistant, how to set up your tools correctly, the phone numbers, like making sure all that you can do is done correctly so your VA is in the best position to win, right? And the best practices behind that. So I'm creating a small course and I'm going to be giving away. It's not done yet, but as of right now, I definitely have all the scripts. You can email me, mattbeard@vahub.com. I will love to share that with you. Let's see, guys. We're almost wrapping this up. We're almost at an hour and a half. Holy crap. She said, I don't know how to, hey, Bill, how do you say her name? Do you know?
I'm sorry?
Do you know how
My
to say her
name?
name? No, her name here?
Xana Foster.
Xana. Let's just say Xana. I love
Yeah,
it.
sorry.
That's good. So she says, how many people should I text per day in BatchDriven when looking for wholesaling deals? So that'll go back to, wherever your budget will allow you to, but I would say at least 100 people per day.
That's a good range. That's right.
Yeah. Ty, yo, what up, dude? When the door knocked pre-foreclosure and they said not interested, everything taken care of. Should you go back? If so, when? Definitely, you should go back, right? Especially if the information is still the same, especially if their property still shows it's in pre-foreclosure, right? It's like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, if you have everything taken care of, this is still recorded with the city, and here's the trustee. You think maybe we should give them a call while we're right here just to make sure they have the right information? Because by what they have, they're saying that this thing is going to be in foreclosure in 2 months. Look, I'm not here to buy your house, but you're going to be having people calling you and texting you nonstop until this thing's taken care of. So I want to, at least while I'm here, maybe try to get this taken care of for you, right? And then you'll know right away like where they're at. And if they're like, no, thank you, I'm good. It's like, okay, great. You should definitely stop back by because you approached it way different than anyone else. I got to go to my computer mic. Can you hear me, Bill?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
If your data are in batch leads, is it possible to bring those data to BOM CRM? Yeah, absolutely. You can export your data in batch leads and put it into BOM CRM. Yeah, Justice, I'm in Clubhouse. I don't ever use it. I don't know. Like, I think Clubhouse is cool, but I also think it's kind of whack, to be honest. It's like a weird app. Like, you have just a bunch of people talking about stuff, and I don't understand it. I don't want to be a boomer, but at the same time, I don't understand it well enough. Do you need batch? No. Not everyone at VA Hub. So if you guys don't know, VA Hub, it's VA Hub, VAHUB.com. But you don't need batch products to have a virtual assistant with us. We just recommend it because it's something that we use. Again, you can use whatever you want. But what we find is a lot of clients like to use products that we're using in our business, because it's working. But at the same time, there's people who are doing deals in all sorts of platforms. So that's up to our clients for sure. Guy says 4K budget. What's the best way to get going? Hire a virtual assistant to start prospecting for you, right? And is that 4K budget for 1 month? That way you have money set aside. One VA cold calling with enough leads, you're going to be spending about $2,000 to $2,500 for all the things that you need. So you're going to be under budget with that, and you should be able to get a deal or two. What dollar are you using for cold calling? We use Call Tools right now, but we're probably going to be switching over to, well, we already have our account, Batch Dialer.
Since again, everything's in batch, it'd be super easy to move our data over to the dialer and keep all of our agents on the dialer at once. So we have 35 virtual assistant guys. Like we try to figure out a way to make these things as simple as possible. So we're at on call tools right now. We're probably gonna be transitioning over to batch dialer within the week. Robin says, does the phone through batch have all the bugs worked out? Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, batch dialer from when we did our testing, it works really well. After all the marketing programs use payments, office costs, taxes, etc., what do you guys tend to see net per first year, second year, etc., on year peeps who have hustle muscle till they hit jet stream average if the marketing streams were synced and averaged out? For our clients at VA Hub or just people in general? Because when I started in August, I finished the year off with 26 deals or something. And then, I think it's just being consistent and doing the right things. Everybody has different results. It depends on, not just creating leads, but also converting and taking the money and putting it in the right places in the business to make sure you're building a lean and efficient business and not overpaying yourself, right? A lot of folks they'll have a $40,000 assignment and they'll put $30,000 in their pocket, right? How fast do you think their business is going to grow? Probably not that fast at all. They're just going to be trying to get to the next deal. So we follow profit first and we keep money into the business to make sure we can continue to scale. So if you haven't read Profit First, check that one out. I want to come door knocking with you and your team, Matt. Can you make it happen for me, please? Yes. Eva, where are you at? Are you in Phoenix? Are you where are you at? Come to town. Robin's going to be here on the 25th. We can make it a big party. We'll have everyone come down to the Tempe office. It'll be fun. I'm in Tucson. Do you have a door knocking team here? Saxon, we don't have a team there, but we do have here one in Phoenix. So, but what we share here on these lives, you can implement there in Tucson. I know, Justice is kind of taking it to the next level, and he's building a team in Orlando. This is something that you can learn and teach as well. Axe Anna. Okay. Oh my gosh.
There we go.
We're terrible.
Sorry.
We're terrible.
We butchered that, man.
Double text. So we want to double text in BatchDriven. We do, your touch. The great thing about BatchDriven is they have a drip sequence where they're texting. So they get the first text, and then 2 days they'll get another one and another one, all the way up until they respond. So I think that's really cool. Can you connect a dialer with BOM, direct mail, email? Yes, you can do all those things. The dialer you connect with BOM will be something called smartphone, which they have a power dialer that will allow you to go through your leads in Podio, just like you would in any other power dialer. It's going to be huge. Organic growth is insane right now. It's like Instagram. You should look into it. Good opportunity to build a brand. I don't know, bro. I kind of feel like it's like Meerkat or those other Periscope. I don't know. I don't see it lasting that long, but everyone's gung-ho on this thing. I get a freaking notification. I open my phone right now. It's probably 3 notifications that someone's going live on Clubhouse with someone else. And I don't know. Maybe I'm being a pessimist, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I'll at least give it a shot. I won't sit on the sidelines. We'll see where it goes. So about $2,000, $2,500 per month for a VA cost of VA. Yeah, so that's everything. That's your VA cost, but it's also your cost of skip tracing, your cost of batch, your cost of everything that you would use to call, text, your tools, everything all together about $2,000, $2,500 with one VA. All right, bro, you're gonna keep pushing me. We'll do it. I have to have you on there too. I love it. I love it. Thanks, guys. Does Batch do the drip on its own or have that set up? Yeah, so BatchDriven has its own dripping text campaign setting thing. So it's really cool. But we found for our agents that are going to be driving for dollars, we like to take it and put it into a text blast on our text blasting platform instead of just the drip. And then we also had them cold call the list of their building. So that's how we've been able to figure out an efficient way to use BatchDriven with batch leads and all the other services. So that's just what we do. Not saying that you can't use the drip, especially if you're a one-man band getting started. So, guys, that was a lot of questions. And we're an hour and a half in, Bill. Bro, thanks for being here, man.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Appreciate you.
Guys,
Fun to
He
be here.
is amazing. Okay, so Bill started driving for dollars. We didn't have this position figured out. I didn't even know what to really tell him what to do. I was just like, hey, so here's kind of how you use the app, and here's how you drive for dollars. And then he started like figuring out all these things. The things that we do now was the stuff that he figured out. It's not like I figured this stuff out. It was Bill doing it and him like driving for dollars. Like, hey, so this isn't really efficient. Because in the beginning, I told him, oh yeah, just like find one, call them, go to the next one, find one, call them, you know. So like we figured this thing out, and we couldn't do it without you, man. And I just tremendously appreciate you because now you're calling leads that are in the database, you're doing lead managing, you're following up, you're setting up our acquisition team. I think it's just an ode and testament of having the right people doing the right things and bringing more opportunities for the people within the team and giving them more responsibility. So, bro, I couldn't do it without you. Thanks for
Oh,
being on this live with us. You got any final thoughts for the people here?
no, first of all, Matt, yeah, I appreciate you, giving us, all the trust and all that responsibility. I mean, we owe the world to you, man. I mean, thank you so much. And for the people in here, I mean, good luck. And I hope you guys, stay healthy, stay fit, and keep rocking it, guys.
Keep rocking it. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for hopping on. This was a ton of fun. Happy Friday. Go post in BatchDriven Facebook group. Go find someone to go door
Please
knock this
do.
weekend and go get some deals, guys. Go get some deals. Thank you guys so
Do
much.
it.
Have a good weekend. See ya.